QRM, the qualitative research methods in education. This is what we will be discussing in today's video. I repeat, QRM, qualitative and quantitative research methods, both only focuses on education. So education research is a body of collection, body of data which needs to be studied, which needs to be analyzed with anything that pertains to secondary level, primary level, advanced level, research oriented, graduation level of education. It purifies life, it improves the quality, it basically does nothing but seek solutions to the problem with relate to knowledge creation, with relation to knowledge imparting, with relation to knowledge bifurcation. Education research is critical, it is reflexive, it is a professional activity that uses rigorous method to gather data, to analyze it, and probably solve some educational challenges that might be bothering. Research is required to any field to come up with new theories and modify, accept, or probably nullify existing theory. Now, did I say educational challenges that might be bothering? For example, many of the time it has been noted that pupils are afraid of mathematics as a subject, as a domain. Some people are disinterested as a music as a domain. Now, you need to understand why they have been disinterested. What is the role of the music, or for that matter, mathematics? How can they be taught, or at least given a basic idea about how to come to basic calculation in terms of mathematics, basic notes about the music, and so on and so forth. So we have Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, J.C. Bose, John Dewey, Skinner, and many other people who have contributed to this line of education progress and have pronounced a lot of theories altogether. So sources of acquiring knowledge, one is from the authority, learned authority. You learn it because it is just due to of their experiences in that domain, traditions, experiences, and then probably we have something called scientific method where it can be quantified, it has been proven, empiricism or rationalism or even fideism as the case might be. So education research is nothing but probably cleansing of educational aspects. Many experts think education as, let me tell you, as Moley thinks it's a systematic application of scientific problems. Systematic application of scientific problems to solve educational issues. On the other hand, Travers thinks it is an ongoing or probably a developing behavioral science domain for education situation. It allows the educators to achieve his goals effectively. But Whitney has different understanding. Whitney says education research is all about finding solutions to the problem and using validated model. Thus, education research is to solve educational problem in systematic fashion, probably even in scientific fashion. It is to understand, explain, predict, control humanity. We are talking about the characteristic. No doubt it is highly purposeful. It deals with the problems of the student. It deals with the problem of the educators. It deals with the problem of the administrator. I'm talking only from the education perspective. It is precise, it is objective, it is scientific and systematic body of investigation. It attempts to organize data quantitatively. It attempts to organize data qualitatively to come to a statistical inferences, statistical conclusions. It discovers new facts and new perspective. It is based on certain philosophical theory per se. It depends on the researcher ability, ingenuity, and experiences for its interpretation. For its conclusion, it needs interdisciplinary approach. What about music? What about maths? What about psychology? What about social interaction? What about vocabulary as a body, as the vocabulary knowledge? How strong is your linguistic skill? It's an interdisciplinary approach for solving educational problem. It is a subjective interpretation. It is a deductive reasoning. I might have the knowledge, but I cannot express it thoroughly or in a systematic step-by-step fashion. As a result, pupil in my classroom doesn't get uh, have incoherency as far as delivery or understanding or grasping of knowledge is concerned. It uses classroom, schools, college department of education as a laboratory for conducting research. What are the steps? Step number one is to identify the gap. Step number two is to identify why the gap exists. What are the reasons behind it? And the last step is stating the goal. Goal is simple, to ensure that there is no gap. Goals of researchers can be stated below to ascertain the relation of anxiety with academic performance of the student, to ascertain the gender differences in anxiety, to ascertain the gender differences also the academic performance of the student, if there are any gender differences in the relationship with anxiety and the performance of the student per se. So yes, we are talking about the solution, the problems. Next, the step number 4 is where we want to go, the hypothesis. Why was the gap? How do we address those gaps? Now we are talking about formulating the hypothesis. The research may state his, probably her hypothesis as follows: as in there's a significant relationship between anxiety and academic performances, or there is significant gender differences in anxiety academic performances, or even there's a significant gender differences in relationship with anxiety with academic performances. So see what kind of formula this is and the exact opposite will be null hypothesis. There is no significant differences. There is no significant relationship. There is no significant impact altogether. And that is what we are talking about it. Step number 5 is collecting the relevant information. Step number 6 is testing the hypothesis, whether my hypothesis is right or wrong. And the 7th one is coming to a conclusion. The 8th step is comparing the findings with the prior research finding. Were they same? Were they similar? Or are they different? How different if they are? So at this step, the researcher tries to find out whether her conclusion matches those of the prior researchers or not. Step number 9 is modifying theory. This refers to the process of altering and refining an established theory in light of a new evidence or observation. Science, education, and educational research are intricately linked and form a powerful network for knowledge advancement and human progress. Provides the foundation of knowledge for many educational disciplines, applies that the knowledge and fosters scientific literacy. Educational researchers bridges the gap, studying how people learn and improving educational practices based on evidences. Science provides the what of an education, teaches the how of an education, and research finding is the best way to learn about it. The scientific method for processing established fact is just through testing and experimentation. It involves only 5 steps. One, first is identify the problem. Second is formulate the hypothesis. Third is implication of the hypothesis through deductive reasoning, this or this is a significant relation or there are no relation. Then is where you start collecting data and analyzing the evidence. Step number 4. And the last step, whether your null hypothesis was true or the hypothesis that you assume is true, is the verification of the hypothesis that takes place out here. Ethical consideration of research. Ethical consideration research are set for a principle that guides research practices, research design. Researcher responsibilities upholds the ethical code and beyond sponsors' obligations, considers users, societal subjects, and colleagues, maintains data integrity even if it is unfavorable to the sponsorer, ensures subject confidentialities and anonymity. The ethical code of researchers must follow and highlight the key principles of consent, confidentialities, and subject autonomy, as the case might be. And this is ethical researchers. A research paradigm is a model. A research paradigm is a pattern. A research paradigm is a method for conducting a research. It is nothing but a set of an idea, set of a belief, set of a values, or your own understanding that allows theories and practice to function. Paradigm sets the pattern for education's questions. Paradigm sets the patterns for the method and the procedure that needs to be incorporated by the researchers in that particular field. They include emotional, they include political, they include cognitive elements influencing how the scientists view and interpret the world. Also, it determines what questions are deemed important and how to approach them methodologically. Remember, there is no dominant paradigm. Education, unlike hard sciences, has no single unifying paradigm due to its multifaceted and diverse disciplinary background for researchers. Two main paradigms, however, exist, as in positivism emphasizes empirical quantitative data, causal relationships, and explanation, drawing from natural sciences and Anglo-Saxon tradition. The next one is the humanistic. Is focuses on a holistic nature, qualitative information, interpretation and understanding of individual in context, stemming from German idealism to philosophy thereby. So let us give you a historical development. Way back in 19th century, it was all about positivism and empiricism, which was the dominant model. But with the 20th century, the European alternative model from German idealism and Hegelism developed. Hegelism developed. What we are talking about it is positivism. Positivism gained traction, gained movement, gained acceptance with mathematical physics, become a methodological ideal. Delthe, Husserl, and critical philosophy contributed to the human positivism nature. Education researchers navigates multiple paradigms due to its complicated nature, leading to a diverse research and approach interpretation thereby. Two main paradigms, functional and interpretist. What is functional? Which is basically structural oriented, as in the objective, rational, goal oriented. We are talking only of quantitative nature. So we have functional, we have subjects in a semester. Per subject, there are n numbers of module. Per module, there might be n numbers of chapters, and learning per chapter, there might be n numbers of learning objective. It is based on a structure. Interpretivist is subjective. It is all about consensus. It is all about open. It is all about reinterpretation, which is all only nothing but qualitative in nature. Complementary and non-competitive both offers valuable insight, and none of them is superior to either of them, or none of them is inferior to either of them. Keyes argue that for their unity, one overall paradigm with diverse approaches. Qualitative explores cultural backgrounds and curriculum philosophy. Quantitative analyzes the video recording, data analysis statistically, and both, if we are using it comparatively and cross national perspective. Choosing the right paradigm is very important. Why? Because it depends on the research objectives of the target audiences. Quantitative is the strength is generalized findings and measurement achievement, systematic level of comparison. Whereas qualitative strength is deep understanding of context, factors behind achievement, individual needs, as the case might be. Target audiences, policymakers prefer generalizations and rules for diverse setting. Classroom practitioners need specific guidance for individual students, as the case might be. What are the types of researches? Allow me to throw some light onto it. Fundamental researches focuses only on the general principles of learning and not about application. Whereas fundamental researches can have a different method, often conducted in a lab settings with control experiment, sometimes often using animals. Fundamental research might have an objective which is developed, refined theories of learning, generate new knowledge, regardless of the immediate practical use, and contribute to an organized body of knowledge, scientific knowledge, if I may say so. And then there is something for benefits and limitation that a fundamental research will always accrue to. And then we talk about the applied research, not the fundamental research. This is the applied research where the focus is on solving immediate problems that you're facing in education, often in the real world setting. Objective is to test, apply theories of learning to the classroom situation, develop effective instructional materials and practices, inform decision making for educations and policymakers, methods which is similar to research, including sampling, including data analysis, and you will have definitely the advantages and disadvantages of both the fundamental research and the applied research per se. The third is the most valuable thing, or should I believe more passionate about, is the action research, which is all about solving practical problems with insight from both fundamental research and applied research. The method is combining quantitative and qualitative approaches. It is flexible, it is adaptable based as on when the results are appearing. If the result comes in a different fashion, you need to adapt yourself, not as a control or generalizations as other research method. Goals are very simple. It makes the classroom a lively place. It makes a classroom a scientific inquiry based solution. Develop the researcher skills of the practitioner, provide immediate answer to the pressing problem. And yes, we have the advantages and disadvantages here also. So we have fundamental research, applied research, and the action research. With this, I come to an end of this video. Thank you for watching this video till the end.